Hi everyone, this is Mr. Martinez with the 8th grade science channel, which is awesome. And today we're going to be looking at balanced and unbalanced forces with our TEKS 8.6a related to force, motion, and energy. We gotta know that there is a relationship between forces, motion, and energy. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, we need to know what a force is. So what is a force? Okay, a force is a simple push or a pull. This causes objects to either move, to stop, or to change in direction. Okay, there are ways to measure force, and that is by using the SI units of measurements. These are the international standards, which means the whole world uses that. And those units of measurements to measure force are called newtons. So we gotta know a couple little more things about force. First of all, forces they come in pairs, right? They have magnitude and direction. So what do we mean with magnitude and direction? Magnitude will be like how much force, like the amount, right? We can also call them amount. And direction obviously will tell you if it's going north, south, east, west. Okay, we gotta learn a couple things like reading arrows. All right, so the arrows will tell you about how much force and in which direction the force is being applied. All right, so the length and the thickness of the arrow represents the magnitude of the force. All right. Also, the arrow will show you direction of it. Like this one will be going to the right, and if we had an arrow going like this, will be going to the left, right? The longer the arrow, the greater the force. The smaller the arrow, the smaller the force. Look at these two examples. In relation to magnitude, we have 5 newtons right here, right? It says right there, and also going north or upward. That will be direction, going north. Very simple. Let's move on to the next thing. Okay, we are going to be talking about balanced and unbalanced forces. These are forces that can also come in pairs, and they can be either balanced or unbalanced. And notice this represents kind of like a balanced forces because both of them are pretty much about the same. And these ones will be unbalanced, where one of them is actually greater than the other. So let's see what a balanced force is. First of all, balanced forces do not cause motion. All right, so just basically there is no movement. All right, during balanced forces, because the forces are gonna be pretty much like combined and they're gonna cancel each other out. Okay, why do they cancel? Because they are equal in size and opposite in direction. Okay, now when we talk about equal in size, that means the same amount of force. Look at these two over here. They probably represent the same amount of force. The arrows are exactly the same, they're just going in separate ways. This probably is 5 newtons and 5 newtons. Now we don't know how much newtons is that. We just given it a number and notice that both of the arrows are exactly the same size, lengthwise and thickness, right? But they are going opposite in directions. This one is going to the left and this one is going to the right. Of course, you have to do some kind of like a math over here and they're gonna cancel each other out, but we'll see that later. Notice these two guys that supposedly are like super strong. See that? Supposedly. Well, they are actually like arm wrestling, and since both of them have exactly the same amount of force, they also gonna cancel each other out just like these ones that are pulling on the rope. Okay, notice the difference. These two are going apart from each other and these ones are coming towards each other, but still both of them are being canceled because they have the same or equal in size. They have the same magnitude, right? So they're gonna cancel each other out. Unbalanced forces is a little bit different. When you have unbalanced forces, this one actually changes the motion, right? So over here, there is movement. Okay, because remember, we're relating all this to motion. So when we have unbalanced forces, there will be a change in motion. In this example, an unbalanced force, one of them is bigger, one force is bigger than the other. So therefore, obviously, the one that has the stronger force will prevail, or is going to win. The arrows, however, are going to be moving in the direction of the smaller force. Like for example, this one represents 10 newtons, this one represents 6 newtons. We know that this one will win and the movement will be going to the right. Okay, this is right, left, this is right. Okay, so let's talk about when there is unbalanced forces, we are going to have a net force. So what is a net force? A net force is either the difference or the addition between two forces. So the difference, we know that is a subtraction. Addition is kind of like a plus sign. We're going to be adding two forces. Like for this example, where one of them goes to the right with 10 newtons and the other one goes to the left with 6 newtons. Who wins? With the one with the biggest force, which is the one to the right, right? That one has 10 newtons, but we have to subtract because they're going in opposite directions, right? But against each other. So you have to subtract, and we are going to do that here. 10 minus 6 will be equals to 4 newtons. So this will be 4 newtons to the right. Look at these two guys that are arm wrestling. Now, one of them is stronger than the other one, right? Obviously, this is the guy that is stronger. Take a look at it. He has 6 newtons going to the left. And this guy over here, even though he looks a lot stronger, he is not. He's actually half as strong as the other one. So he has 3 newtons going to the right. So who's going to win? We'll do the math. We got 6 newtons and 3 newtons. We're going to have a total of 3 newtons. But this one is going to the left. This one is to the right. So who wins? The one going to the left. Okay, there it is. And this is what you have left. This is your net force. Okay, so the net force goes right here, right? 3 newtons to the left. Look at these two oranges or whatever is it, lemons and oranges. I guess they're pulling from the same rope like a tug of war. One of them is weaker than the other one. This one is stronger. This one is 10 newtons to the right. Okay, and this one is 4 newtons to the left. So obviously you're going to subtract those two, and the winner will be the one going to the right side. You can see this one is the blue, the other one is kind of red. So this one wins. You subtract, you get 6 newtons left to the right, which is this one right here. That is your net force. Look at this one, it's unbalanced forces. So we have seen two examples. We have seen when they go away from each other. We also have seen when they go against each other, right? Well, look at this example. Now we have two going on the same direction. So when you have this example, you're actually gonna add. Notice this one. This is 5 newtons to the right. This is 10 newtons to the right also. Both of them to the right. So you add them. And the remaining, or the net force, will be 15 newtons to the right. Very simple. For your vocabulary words, remember, you need to know what a force is. And very simple, just keep it simple. Alright? It's a push or a pull. And this one causes objects to move, to stop, or to change direction, to accelerate also, right? Newtons, remember that is the SI units of measurements. These are the international standards units of measurements. And the unit of measurement is called a Newton. Alright? This is the spring scale. This is the actual equipment that we use in the lab to measure the amount of force. So that's what it's made of. Or I'm sorry, this is what it's made for, to measure the amount of force. Okay, notice the balance forces. Remember that whenever you have balance forces, they cancel each other out. The remaining or the net force is zero. They do not cause change, right? There is no motion. And this example is stationary. That word we're gonna use it a lot. Stationary. That means there is no movement. Look at this one. This is 10 newtons to the right, 10 newtons to the left. They're going to cancel each other out. The net force will be zero. Zero. Unbalanced forces, in in contrast, these are two forces that are going on the same direction. Add them up, that will be 8 newtons, right? And then you have probably friction, 3 newtons over here. So you will have a total of 8 newtons minus 3 newtons because they're going right. These are unbalanced forces, they're going opposite. So you will have a net force of 5 newtons. Now, where is it going to be going? Obviously to the right. So the net force will be, not this one, but that one, 5 newtons to the right. Remember, the net force is what you get after adding or subtracting all the forces involved. Gravity, we're going to see it a lot, so get used to it. Gravity is actually a force that causes attraction between two objects, all right? Both of the objects have to have mass, and obviously one object is bigger than the other one. That's why it's creating an attraction. Okay, and the last one is friction. Friction will be this force right here that is actually going against the push, right? So if somebody, let's say, is pushing over here, right? The guy is pushing. All right, so let's say it's pushing with 10 newtons. When friction is probably going to be about 3. All right, so who's going to win? Obviously, this one. So you're going to have to subtract 10 minus 3, so you'll get a total of 7 newtons to the right. And I think that's it. All right, so this is Mr. Martinez with the 8th grade science channel. Thank you and see you later. Bye bye.